Okay, this is a video that's going to be explaining domain and range. So first we're going to go over vocabulary. So domain is from left to right. So domain es izquierda a la derecha. And the letter that represents domain is X. So domain significa X, X significa domain, right? And then range is actually from the bottom to the top. So range, or rango en español, es abajo a la arriba. And the letter is Y. So la letra representa rango, o rango es Y. Okay, and there is a song for this. It is left, right, bottom, top. I like this a lot. Domain, domain, range. Supposed to help you memorize it. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next part. So the first type of problem you can get is a relation. So el primer tipo de problema tú puedes recibir es una relación. Okay, the first step is you need to label. So el primer paso es necesitas escribir los nombres, right? The names. So 3 is X, -2 is Y. That's your first point. Next point, -8 is X, -7 Y, and then continue. Okay, so now remember, what letter is domain? Domain is X. What letter is range? Range is Y. So for domain, we can circle all the X's. This is domain. Okay, and we're going to do squiggly brackets like this, and we're going to write a list. So necesitamos escribir una lista de los números de domain. So necesitas dibujar un círculo alrededor los números con la X. Now the thing here is you do need to write the numbers from small to big. So necesitas escribir los números menor a mayor y no puedes repetir, right? You can't repeat the numbers. So I'll check them off as I go. So the lowest number that I have is -8. So I checked that one. The next one I have would be -3. Check. Next is -1. Check. And then 0. And then 3. And then 5. And then 6. Okay, and I didn't have any repeating. Okay, so that's domain. Domain is the X. Now I'm going to do Y. So this one's Y, 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 Y. I'm going to do squiggly brackets. And then I'm going to write the numbers from small to big. So escribir los números menor a mayor otra vez. So the smallest one is -7. Next is going to be -3. Okay, so I have 2 of them. I'm only going to write it one time. So tengo 2 -3, pero solo necesito escribir una vez. Okay, after -3, I have -2. Check. After that, I have 4. Check. And then after that, I have 6. Again, I have 6 2 times. Right, tengo 6 dos veces, pero solo necesito escribir una vez, right? I only have to write it one time. And that's how you find domain and range of a relation. Right, the next type is table. This one's a lot easier because it already identifies the X and Y for you. So esta es una tabla y es más fácil porque la X está a izquierda y Y está a derecha. Okay, all you have to do is write them from small to big. So this is domain. And it's already in order. So los números en la X está en orden already. So solo necesitas copiar, right? You only have to copy it. So it's -7, -4, -2, 8, 10, 19. Okay, so that's domain. Now we're going to do range. Range is Y. So domain is X, range is Y. Okay, now this one, you need to organize the numbers. So para este necesitas organizar los números porque no están en orden. Okay, the smallest number you have is -11. Then we have -5. And then our next smallest number is 6. Then 9. Then 12. Then 17. And that is how you find domain and range of a table. Next, we have mapping. So first you have to count the lines. So necesitas contar las líneas. So ¿cuántas líneas tienes aquí? So how many lines do you have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 lines, which means I have 6 points. So point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cuando tengo 6 líneas, eso significa tengo 6 puntos. So for my first point, mi primer punto, right, is right here. This is x, this is y. So my x is negative 16, right, negative 16. And then my y is 7. So you have to follow the line. So la línea es con negativo 16, so esta es la x. Y la línea está con el 7 también, so es negativo 16 con 7. Okay, so that was the first one. Okay, now I'm going to do the next point, siguiente punto, negative 6 with negative 7. X and y. Then I have 2 with negative 7. Then I have 2 with 11. Then I have 8 with 5. And then 10 with 7. Okay, so now I've done all my points. Again, domain is x, range is y, and then you need to write the numbers from small to big. So if I'm doing domain, I could even use colors. Domain is blue, right? Domain is la X, es azul. And then range, I'll do pink. So this is range. So for blue, the smallest number I have is negative 16. Then I have negative 6. Then I have 2. And I have 2 of them. Don't repeat. No escribe dos veces. And then I have 8. And then 10. Okay, and then now I'm going to check off range. So range is the smallest number that I have is negative 7. So right there, right there. Next, smallest number is 5. Then 7. 7. And then 11. So that is domain and range from mapping. Okay, the next type of problem is when you have a scatter plot. So again, how many points do I have on the graph? ¿Cuántos puntos tenemos en la gráfica? Tenemos 5. We have 5 points. So point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can start with this point. X is 1, right? And y is negative 1. So x is 1, y is negative 1. So necesitas identificar cada punto. So este punto aquí, la x es 1, la y es negativo 1. So está aquí. Okay, so now I'll do this point. X is negative 1, and y is 1. I'll do this one next. X is negative 2, y is negative 3. Y no está importa el orden escribiendo los puntos, right? It doesn't matter the order that you're writing them in. All right, now I'm going to do the difficult one. So this one, x is negative 3, which means y is 0. Okay? So este punto está en la línea de x. So x es un número, es negativo 3, y es 0. Right? So this point is on the x-axis. So that means x is negative 3 and y is 0. Okay, now we're doing the other type. So this point, este punto, right, is the opposite. X is 0, and then y is 2. Okay, remember domain is x, range is y, squiggly. And then we put them in order. So I'll do domain in red, domain is rojo, so this is domain. So the smallest number is -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. Okay, and then for range, I'll do green, 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 green. So for y, the smallest number is -3, and then it's -1, then 0, then 1, then 2. So that is my domain in range. All right, next part. Really quick, we're going to use parentheses if we're talking about an open point on a graph, or positive or negative infinity. So all of that is for parentheses. On the other side is brackets. That's when you have a closed point or it's touching a line. So en español, estamos usando paréntesis en la siguiente parte cuando el punto está abierto, está aquí. O si la respuesta es positivo infinito o negativo infinito, necesitamos usar paréntesis. Cuando un punto está cerrado o está tocando una línea, eso significa necesitamos usar brackets. Okay, so those are two options. Okay, really quick vocabulary. Vocabulario rápido is here is a box, a rectangle, and you need to label the sides. So necesitas escribir los nombres de los lados. So this is the left side, and this is the right side of the box. So left es izquierda, and right es derecha. Right? Then we have the bottom, which is abajo, and then we have the top, which is arriba. Okay, so same thing here. This is left, this is right, this is bottom, this is top. So domain is left to right, and then range is bottom to top. Okay, so now we're going to go on to graphs. 2 more problems. Okay, so now we're doing domain, and domain means x, right? Domain means x, range means y, but domain also means from the left to the right. And range means from the bottom first to the top. So left is first, right is second, bottom is third, top is last. So siempre empieza con domain, es izquierda a la derecha, left, right, and then el rango es abajo a la arriba, bottom to top. So now the first step that you need to do is you need to draw the smallest box possible around the graph. So el primer paso es necesitas dibujar una caja alrededor de la gráfica primero, el más pequeño que puedes, right? The smallest that you can. Your box cannot touch arrows, so tu caja no puede tocar flechas. So in this example, there are no arrows. En este ejemplo, no hay flechas. So we can draw the full box. So I want to draw a line here, here, and here. That is the smallest box possible I can draw. So ese es el caja más pequeño yo puedo dibujar más posible. Okay? So now I'm going to label the sides. So necesito escribir los nombres de los lados. So this is the left side. This is the right side. This is the bottom. And this is the top. So domain, we do left to right. So the left side is touching -6. So esta es izquierda. The right side is touching +2. So that is domain. So domain es -6 a 2, porque es izquierda a la derecha. Okay, now we're going to do range. I'm going to use purple. So range, the bottom is first, and the bottom is touching -5, and then the top is touching 25. Okay, so that's the first part. Esa es la primera parte. El lado abajo en la caja, right? Abajo es el tercer número, ese es el tercer número, está tocando negativo 5. Okay? Okay, now for the next part. La siguiente parte necesitas identificar si necesitas usar parentheses or brackets. So the next part, you need to identify if you need to use parentheses or brackets. Okay, so remember, parentheses is for open points, brackets is for closed points. So separate those two. So first we're going to look at the left side, right? Left is -6. It is touching a closed point, un punto cerrado. So cerrado means using brackets. Okay? Now, the right side, el lado derecha, right over here, derecha, está tocando 2, right? It's touching 2, and it's touching a open point, un punto abierto. Open point means use parentheses. The next part is the bottom. Bottom es siguiente, -5 is touching, está tocando un punto abierto. It's touching an open point. Open point means use parentheses. And then the top, el parte de arriba, el lado arriba, está tocando, it's touching a closed point, un punto cerrado, right? So este lado arriba está tocando un punto cerrado. So eso significa necesitas usar brackets, right? So we're going to use brackets. And that's how you do a graph with no arrows. The last part, the most difficult, is doing a graph with arrows. So you need to draw a box around the graph. And I'm going to use a different color this time. I'm going to do red. Okay, so first I draw my box. Can I draw this side? ¿Puedo dibujar este lado? No, because there's an arrow, so I have to erase it. No puedes dibujar este. Okay, can I draw the right side of the graph? Yes, yo puedo dibujar este lado porque no hay flecha. Right, I can draw this side of the graph because there's no line. Can I draw the bottom? ¿Puedo dibujar el lado abajo? No, because it's touching an arrow. Está tocando una flecha, so yo no puedo dibujar este lado. And then, can I touch the top? ¿Puedo dibujar este lado arriba? Sí, porque no está tocando una flecha, right? It's not touching an arrow, so I can draw it. Okay. Now we can begin the problem. So, this is the left side. This is the right side. This is the bottom. And this is the top. So remember, domain is from left to right. Range is from bottom to top. Okay, so domain, left, right. So the left side, there's no side. No hay lado aquí. Right, there's no side. This means that it's negative infinity. Ese significa es negativo infinito. The right side is touching +3. Okay, now we're going to do range. The bottom, right, there's no side for the bottom. No hay lado para abajo. That means it's negative infinity. And then the top, a parte de arriba, está tocando 16. It's touching 16. Now remember, we have parentheses and brackets. So parentheses is for open points, brackets is for closed points. But also, if you have infinity, positive, or negative infinity, you have to use parentheses. So this is parentheses because it's infinity, parentheses for infinity. Now we're going to check the right side, el lado derecha, for 3. Derecha, 3, está tocando un punto abierto. Ese significa un punto abierto, usa parentheses. Right, so for the next part, the right side, right over here, it's touching 3, but it's touching an open point. So that means that we need to use parentheses. Same for the top part. El parte de arriba, this part top, it's touching an open point. Está tocando un punto abierto, ese significa usa paréntesis. And that's it.